So why is it so important to have a march here in Bakersfield or in Kern County?
There's a number of reasons that this march is important. First of all, the Pulse event of a year ago hit us all very hard. You didn't have to be living in Orlando to be affected by what happened there. And it was a hate crime in that local community, but it was a hate crime against all of us. And we need to recognize that we all still feel that. So it's important for all of us to take some time out and recognize that here as well as everywhere else in this country. Also, there's a national march happening, and there are marches in communities all over America, and we wanted to let people know in Bakersfield that, you can go to LA and march if you want to, but if you can't get to LA, it's happening here. We're going to be visible here, and there is a community here in Bakersfield where we're going to take a stand here locally, and we believe it's important to be visible in our local communities and not just in the big cities.
Hey, hey, ho, ho, homophobia has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho ho! Homophobia has got to go.
Show me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Watch out, Paul. Why do you think it's important for us to have a march here in, more of a conservative area as opposed to going to somewhere like LA or San Francisco to celebrate, equality and pride?
I think, one, Kern County needs to realize that we have a big LGBTQ community. I think they like to think that we're not here. Two, this county overwhelmingly voted for this administration, and I feel like by the LGBTQ community coming forward, we kind of normalize it. So we make people realize, like, we are your neighbors, we are your school moms, like we're normal families, we're normal people, and maybe they just don't realize that there's so many of us in the mix. I think it's really important for the youth to see, like, there is an out community, and it's okay for me to be out in my school. It's okay for me to be gay, bi, lesbian, whatever, because in our community it's just so not talked about. So I think when people see us walking down the street with flags, and I think a lot of the honking is like, oh look, they're out there and they're doing it.
Love Trump's hate! 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 Trump's
But it's curly, so.
There you go. That's where
Transphobia's got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Transphobia's got to go.
Why do we want it? Why do we want it now? Why do we want it? Equality. Why do we want it? Equality. Why do we want it? Now. Woo! What?
Help me out.
Love Trump! Love not hate! Love not hate! Love not hate! Love not hate!
Love not hate. Love not hate. Love not hate.
Love not hate! Love not hate! Love not hate! Ho ho! Homophobia has got to go!
Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Homophobia has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Homophobia has got to go. Hey,
with all the cars going by and honking and waving. I don't know about you, but wow. Just what an opportunity to be involved this morning.
I'm so excited that we're finally able to have a Pride March in Bakersfield, that this many people were willing to get out of bed early on a Sunday morning to come and march with us. This is a really important march because not only is this the first LGBT Pride March in Bakersfield, we're also marching today to commemorate the memories of the 49 victims of the Pulse Massacre last summer. That was a tragedy that ripped through our community, and the ripples of it will be felt for years. But we are here to say that we will not be silenced, we will not be the victims of hate, and we will fight LGBT violence wherever it occurs. And we need to come together as international LGBT activists and demand an end to genocide of gay and bisexual men in Russia and to fight against anti-LGBT violence no matter where it rears its ugly head.
Thank you everybody for showing up. Chantel and I were walking down Stockdale Highway. How much has changed in the years just in Bakersfield? I was in Walmart a couple months ago, and I was talking to somebody I knew that was working there, and in walked two young high school boys, and they were holding hands. And this other old queen that I was talking to, I was like, did you see that? It was beautiful. It was beautiful. And I wanted to go, I didn't have time, I wanted to go up to the boys and I said, you guys are so cute, thank you for doing this. So anyways, thank you for changing Bakersfield's attitude toward the LGBT community. Thank you for showing your support and walking down the street, and not in fear, but in pride, and showing our rainbow colors. Thank you, everybody.
Today I march in memory of the mother of pride, Brenda Howard, who was, according to her partner, an in-your-face activist who fought for anyone who had their rights trampled upon. Brenda Howard fought hard during the Stonewall riot, organized the first march in memory of Stonewall, and organized pride marches and events for decades to come. Brenda Howard, the mother of pride, was a BDSM practitioner, a polyamorist, and a lifelong bisexual activist. Like Howard's many accomplishments, the stories of those of us whose sexual identities are neither lesbian, gay, or straight, but instead unbound by gender, are invisible to most. We've never fit into the straight community, and we don't really fit into the gay community. Even the labels that we have to use don't really fit in, which I think is why we have so many of them. Most of us identify as bisexual. We also identify as pansexual, omnisexual, polysexual, plurisexual, non-monosexual, sexually fluid, heteroflexible, homoflexible, queer, a whole host of other labels. And there are some of us who just prefer not to be labeled at all. Regardless of how we label or don't label our sexual attractions, we all know that we don't fit in, because we're told so often that we don't. Our sexuality is constantly forgotten. We are always outsiders. No matter how much we resist, no matter how out and vocal we are. And it's exhausting. When you help us resist, when you share these reminders, you help people gain the ability to finally see us. And you make the world a safer place for us to live in. There's a lot that all of us folks who are attracted regardless of gender don't understand about gay men, lesbians, and straight people. But even though we don't understand how your attractions work, and often can't fathom being attracted to just one gender, we believe you. We accept you. We support you. We appreciate you. We celebrate you. We show up for you. But most of all, we love you. All we ask is that you do the same for us.
Non-binary is a gender identity that is used by people that are outside of the binary, which would be male and female. Some people are more specific with how they identify, but non-binary is an umbrella term that includes everything out of the binary. For me now, it seems so obvious, but it was, and it still is, a journey. I think the first time that I remember thinking about another possibility from being cisgender, which is what I was assigned at birth. I was in my English class, and we were given a short essay to fill out. And I was in the beginning, the easy questions. I put my name and my grade, and it was the first time that my hand didn't go immediately to one box marked male or female. And it was really hard, and everybody around me was just filling out this questionnaire because it was no big deal. But it was really hard. And I just picked the one that I was used to checking, and I haven't stopped thinking about that since. I know it's a journey for me and for the people around me. In the beginning, I was really scared because I didn't know how I would have to change myself to be this. But I eventually realized, and I'm coming to terms with, that I don't have to change, that I identify as non-binary. So the way that I present myself and the way that I dress and the way that I act is non-binary. That I have a non-binary body, and there's nothing that I need to change unless I want to. I think it's really important that everyone knows that your identity doesn't correlate with any haircut, any clothes, any accessories, or anything else that you do. You might not look like the mainstream version of your identity, and that is completely okay. You are valid no matter how you express yourself. That's why I think that bills like SB 179 are really important. We need to be recognized. We should be able to see our true identity on our legal identification. Our identity shouldn't be something that has to be set aside. Taking out the requirement for surgery is great for everyone that doesn't want it or doesn't need it. People want different things, and that should be allowed. We're here, and we just want to live our lives and be happy.
We need to be more embracing of people from different identities, because coming out can be completely different for all of us because of intersectionalities. So for some people, due to culture, due to your religion, due to the way you were raised, we can't expect everybody to come out, but we can expect everybody to be visible. We can all stand up for someone when they're being bullied. We can all do something when you hear someone say a microaggression or attack someone. Because if we don't stand up for each other, who is gonna be able to do it for us? So last year, after the attack happened, we were not invisible anymore. We were in everyone's living room. Everybody was talking about it. People try to cover it up with terrorism or religion when it was an attack to our community directly. And we also realized that all those archaic policies on blood donations that are not based on true science, we have made so much progress, like Robert was mentioning earlier. And men who have sex with men are still banned from donating. It's gone down to a year, but it's still something that we need to keep fighting for. Because when that happened, there was people willing to donate blood. There was people that needed that blood, and no one could do it because of those policies. So I just want to invite everybody to just be there for each other, to support each other, to be proud of who you are, and to be supportive. We can all do it. We can all see each other and say hello. I think it's a time where we all need to support each other. We know how it's been since the new presidency happened, and we know that we need to support each other. I know that not everybody knows everybody in this room, but we can all say hello if we see each other on the streets. I think we need to put aside all of our differences and whatever things are dividing us, and just become one, because we are one community and we are all fighting for the same things. So I encourage you to join me. Thank you.
What is a pulse? It is a heartbeat found in various places on a body, so we know that someone is alive. It is the significant events and issues in a community that tell us that a community is alive. It is the rhythm and beat of a throbbing dance floor in a crowded club, a pulse of music through the floor and on the bodies, a uniting energy that makes us feel alive. And today, Pulse is the nightclub where a year ago, the pulse on the dance floor stopped, and the pulses of 49 of our family rested forever. And their lives became our pulse, a demand that our hearts are joined in their energy, that we who still have a pulse continue to fight until the national pulse is truly one that values the lives of all Americans as fully equal, fully worthy of liberty and justice for all. My pulse is your pulse, is everyone's pulse. The blood that flows in my veins bled from those bodies in Orlando, just as the fire that burned the gay bar in Fort Worth blazed in my soul. Our community on fire. Chechen gay men rounded up and put in camps, tortured until their pulse stops. And America, the land of the Bill of Rights, remains quiet as the Canadians and the English rise to save their lives. This administration has no heart. They don't even issue a disingenuous pride proclamation. And as the pulse of these men goes silent, right-wing leaders in our own community are looking for ways to silence the pulse of our nation here at home with executive orders falsely labeled religious freedom, designed specifically to gut religious freedom for anyone but themselves, till LGBTQ people become their handmaids and Jezebels. In this county of 750,000 people, there are a dozen churches willing to resist for LGBTQ people, for true religious freedom and diversity, and thank God for you. But where the hell is everyone else? No doctor outside of Kaiser has come forward to serve trans people locally. Not one doctor for hundreds of people whose very pulses rely on that care. Who will step forward to keep these hearts beating? This is just one reason why we march today for health care for all, because no person should ever have to choose between seeing a doctor or paying their rent, getting a prescription or buying food. No one should be denied care they need to live. Health care is a human right to keep your pulse pulsing. We march in the 35th year of the AIDS epidemic, a disease that has ripped so many pulses away. Not only have so many died, but AIDS became an excuse for laws designed to keep gay men oppressed. But then California history reveals laws that made it a sex crime for gay men to simply dance together in a bar. Laws that are inexcusably still on the books in some places. It's time to change those old archaic laws, passed in the days of fear and hysteria. Make a difference. Resist. Do more than march. Stand. Feel your pulse. Your pulse. My pulse. Our pulse. Together we rise above our fears and our oppressors, and we change the world for everyone, forever.